Good evening, welcome to the Toon Review, where tonight we are back into the realms of football again. And we have the league game against Nottingham Forest on Saturday at the City Ground, which tonight we're going to preview. And if you are new to this channel, this is all the rigmarole that we always do first. Hit that subscribe button because we are on the way to 28,000 subscribers. Give us a thumbs up on the way out or on the way in, or whenever you feel like it. A like, that really helps us. And you can also become a member by clicking the join button. Super chats are also available by clicking the dollar sign. How are you, Stato?
Yeah, I don't know. Blue cards. I'm confused. I'm sure we'll talk about it.
It's gone all rugby union, hasn't it? It's sin bins and stuff like that.
It works in rugby, though. I don't think it's going to work in football. But
no,
I've already given you my opinion straight away. But never mind. We'll
let's do it. Let's do the blue card stuff. Let's do it. Let's get out of the way.
Right. Well, I mean, for people that haven't seen it, I don't know if you want to break down what it is, Billy.
Yeah, well, they're introducing a blue card system. Is it for next year's cup? I don't think it's for the league, is it? So I don't think it's a wholesale change. The FA decided to put a blue card system in, which is something that's in between a yellow and red. Will get a sin bin for 10 minutes, very much like rugby union. That's how I understand it. I don't know if that's true or not. That's so.
Yeah, I think that's the same sort of thing. Obviously, in rugby union, there's a lot more clear cut whether there's a high tackle or not, and there's a lot of stuff in rugby that's a lot more black and white. In football, I feel like there's a lot more subjectivity, especially for dissent. I mean, I'd like it to be this certain, rugby union. A lot of the players have got respect. You don't swear at the ref, or you're gone. Football's not the same as that. They're all effing and blinded, but it's always been that way. Tough to change it now. The horse bolted many years ago. I mean, first of all, my first thoughts is how do you break it? Where is this going to fall down? Right. What happens if a goalkeeper gets a blue card? That's a good question. What happens if you get a blue card when there is not 10 minutes remaining of the game? What happens if you get a blue card and you want to substitute that player? Are you allowed to? Does the actual sub player that's coming on then have to serve the rest of the suspension? What happens if somebody gets a blue card but then the game's paused for 9 minutes for a head injury? Does that guy only then get a minute in the sin bin? There are too many variables that we don't have answers for now that all seem like it's absolute nonsense. And to be completely honest, I remember thinking many times in the last few years we could do with a sin bin, but now it's been presented to me. I hate it. I hate the idea of it. I think the most obvious tackle that really irritates me was Chiellini's shirt pull on Saka in the Euros, Italy against England, which was by the laws of the game a yellow card, but was one of those where it's orange territory. That's another thing. I don't know why they've picked blue. Well, orange was the colour to go to. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. I just think there's so many things that don't make sense. There's going to be so many variables on it. I saw Mark Goldbridge's video on it earlier, and I actually agree with him. Football is one of the simplest games on the planet. The beautiful game. You can put a couple of shirts down on the floor, on a beach, in a field, in a desert. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what language you speak. You just play ball. I just feel like it's getting a bit silly now. There's too many variables in this rule. I don't know how it's going to work.
Well, my opinion on it is they can't deal with yellows and reds, so putting another equation into it all, they're not going to deal with it. VAR, they'll be arguing amongst themselves. Is that a blue? Is it a yellow? Well, obviously they can't do anything for yellows. Is it a blue or a red? Is it a blue or a red? Then they want something in between blue and red. Then, won't they? That's the next step.
Well,
you just keep going on and on and on and on. Yeah, it's nonsense. Keep it as it is. Why change the rules of the game when it's been fine for 150 years?
Well, things do need to change. I mean, yellow cards and red cards only came into play at the start of the 70s, right? I mean, Tom will correct me if I'm wrong. So
it was always bookings and sending off, some in the card system, yeah.
So there does need to be change sometimes, because the game wouldn't be what it is now. I mean, you had back passes that you could pick up, and there were lots of rules that nowadays it would be ridiculous. So there does need to be forward thinking, but I don't know. I think this is a step too far. I mean, there's a few other comments that I agree with. Where's it gone? Yeah, Indigo Figures just said exactly what I was thinking there. Someone staying down injured when there is a player on a blue card will be the way this system is going to be gamed. Yeah, I agree. You just have 10 minutes of time wasting. You punt the ball out, you take your time and you goal kicks. Yeah, 100%. It's going to be gamed, and that's then going to slow the game down.
Yeah,
massively.
the clock's different. The clock is different in rugby union, isn't it? Because the ball, when the ball's out of play, the ref will stop the clock, won't he? Whereas in football, they don't do that, do they? It's going to be hard. It's really hard to judge, I think. Yes.
Are you going to? I don't know if it's going to slow it down, speed it up. I mean, you don't want to slow it down too much. It's going to slow it down even more. I mean, normally what they do for sports, when they want to televise a sport, is they speed it up. So badminton is a prime example. In 2004, they changed the rules. You used to only be able to win a point on your serve in badminton, and they changed it because it was too slow for TV. They wanted to televise it. It was big in Asia, big in Denmark. They wanted to televise it. They had to change the rules to make it a bit faster. But it seems like with football, we're going backwards because it's so popular anyway. It's just going to slow it down. We're already getting fans walking out of stadiums at 11 o'clock at night. It's just not good enough. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I got to be honest. It doesn't make any sense to me. They're looking at the sports where it works and trying to bring it into the sport of football. It's not going to work in football. Just like you say, there's too many variables, too many obstacles. The time system it's not the same as rugby. So no, not for me. But I'm sure some people will want it, some people won't, and yeah, it'll
give them a breather, won't it? It'll give them a breather, a bit of rest. They could take tactical instructions. So if anything, it's not a complete benefit. Obviously, it's a disadvantage. You're a man down overall, but it's good for the player to have a rest, get some tactical insight. It's weird. It just doesn't work in this sport at all, I don't think. It can work in sport generally. Don't think it applies to ours, though.
No, absolutely not. Anyway, let's get round to Nottingham Forest. Of course, they give us a good going over, really, at St James's Park on Boxing Day, and it's the return fixture at City Ground. Will Eddie Howe have learnt from that game, do you think, Stasso? It's a massive question to ask so early, but it needs to be asked, I think, before we go into it.
For what? Is Eddie Howe going to start with Burn?
Is he going to learn from what happened at St James's Park with, Burn will be one. The Burn will be part of that, I guess. Does he go gung-ho with the press? Well, we play a little bit different away from home, I know. So what's going to happen?
Well, it's a tricky one. It's away from home, which is the first thing to consider. And obviously our away form's been tricky. Fine. Our away wins have been magnificent. There's just not been very many of them. Sheffield United and Aston Villa, to name a couple, but there aren't really much more, is there? So away from home against Forest, who are very good on the break. They've got a solid midfield. They've got creative midfielder in Gibbs White. They've got pace on the break. With Alanga and Callum Hudson-Odoi. Dangerous. Although Chris Wood is out, and there's a lot of funny in the know stuff going around in the Forest end of for Chris Wood specifically. He's out for an undisclosed period. Well, it's like 7 or 8 weeks, I think it is, for a hamstring issue. But then there's reportedly a Premier League player who's going into rehab for is it laughing gas or something? So now there's all the rumours doing the circulation, doing the rounds that it's Chris Wood. I mean, if he has got an addiction, that's very, very serious.
It is,
but obviously, it's just people putting 2 and 2 together. I would assume it's just his hamstring. But fortunately, he won't be against us. It's a bit weird hoping that Chris Wood doesn't play. We used to want him to play against us because he wasn't very good. But, he's doing very well for him. So, yeah, I'm pretty scared with this one because it's perfect for them. Soak up pressure. We're the one who's got to try and win, and they can hit on the counter. Why is everybody volunteering me for the Eurovision tonight, by the way? Where has this come from?
Lord knows. We've already got the bloke from years and years, and haven't we? The chap that was in It's a Sin. He's our representative. Not that I'm an expert on Eurovision by any shadow of the imagination. Christ, I just said that out loud. But yeah, it's going to be a big game for us because we need to get back amongst the points again. I mean, we dropped 2 last week, so to gain 3 points tomorrow will kind of make up for that slightly. Do you not think? Especially after losing at home.
I honestly don't know anymore. I just don't know because I feel like there are deficiencies in the team.
Yeah,
and I feel like he's just not going to change things. I don't know how to discuss us tactically and technically anymore because I don't know. It's a Dan Burn thing. We like Dan Burn. I think Dan Burn is a good player against certain opposition. And I think it's very, very clear Forest is not the game for Dan Burn to be playing in. There are people, I mean, a few people have just mentioned it in the chat there that, is it to cover for the midfield deficiencies? I feel like you need Livramento to cover for the midfield deficiencies personally, but what do I know? We don't have licenses. We haven't studied. We haven't been managers. We're not coaches. I'd love a little masterclass. I'd love him to go all South American manager on us and just burst into the press conference and go, this is why we use Dan Burn, because of these reasons. And then at least we would know. Yeah. Whereas at the moment, we're just kind of in the dark of, is it because he's really experienced? Is it because he's tall and he can block out the switch?
Let me go through some super chats before we get further in. We've got a 199 from Chris Dill. Just a super sticker there. Thanks for that, Chris. Very much appreciated. Gareth Bascom ACP has been a member for 13 months. He says, IFAB are slowly ruining the game. Potentially, I agree with that. €5.99 from Conor Mattia. Here in Ireland, Gaelic games, we have a black card, which means the player gets replaced by another player. For professional fouls and cynical play, I'm going to say, not clinical. And a pound super sticker also from David Boo. So thanks to all you guys for that. Very much appreciated for your long ongoing support of the channel, really. So back to the Forest game. Dan Burn, that's the one, isn't it? He got them to pieces, didn't he, at St James's, by the pace of Alanga. They've also got Hudson Odoi. Now, I don't know who Forest have got in and who they've got out. So do you have graphics set out to show us what we've got for the way of what Forest have got and what they haven't got?
I can bring something up, indeed.
I'll do some comments while we're waiting.
Too much missing.
New Jersey George said I was a frequent sin bin visitor when I played lacrosse in university. Don't see how this makes any sense in football, though. Here we go with some Forest stuff, all in dark look.
Yeah, I forgot to change it off dark mode. So Sangare and Willy Boley on international duty. Divock Origi is injured. And Chris Wood is not on this list, but I'm pretty sure he's unavailable. I think he's been declared unavailable. That's 4 that are out.
Yep.
In terms of the overall, I mean, that is still... We've got loads of people back, and we've still got a big list. How many's on there? 3, 6, 7, 8. There's still 8 on that list. And yes, I'm still going to count Tonali because it's irritating. What's Forest's squad? What we got? Oh, Matt Sells is there. Well, hey, I wonder if he's going to make his
debut.
Yeah. So Matt Sells. So we've got Aina. Did he get called up for Nigeria?
Well, they're out now anyway. They got beat yesterday. Whether they play in the
I don't know if he'd end up playing
playoff or not.
Willy Boley's not there. Midfielders. Czech Kouyaté. I don't know if he's. I know Seligan are out, so I'd assume he's back. You've got Yates, who is always annoying against us. Sangari's not here. Morgan Gibbs-White, of course, will be ever present.
Yeah.
Ariarta's there, lovely. And then, so it's going to be Awoniyi. Is he going to be back and playing in time, or are they going to do some sort of weird front three? Are they going to sacrifice their shape because they're lacking strikers? Because if Chris Wood's out, if he's only just returning and he's injured, well... to be fair, they do normally put Gibbs-White as like a 10 false 9 with maybe 2 wide out. They could do that. They could definitely do Hudson Odoi and Alanga with Gibbs-White just kind of floating behind, not as a 9, but one of them fancy false 9s or some kind of 10, or a false 10 as Steve Bruce called it. What a moron! Absolute buffoon. So in terms of how they're doing at the moment, I mean, it is really irritating looking at this, the league table, because they are 2 points above the relegation zone. They've only scored 28 all season. I mean, how many have we scored? 48. We've scored 20 more goals than them.
Yeah.
And to lose the way we did last time is just really irritating. And the fact that we're going into this game a little bit scared because Luton put 4 past us.
Yeah.
It's just it's not what you want, really, is it, at this time in the season? Statistically, I mean, do they deserve to be that close to the relegation zone?
No, let's not forget they've got a potential points deduction to come as well. So
Yeah, they might be gone, to be fair. So their rating on FOTMob has them in 16th. Their goals per match has them in 16th. Their goals conceded per match has them in 16th. Their XG is 18th. Possession is 17th. Clean sheets is 15th. I mean, to be completely honest, they're in the bottom 3 or 4 for a lot of the important metrics. They're higher for long balls, which isn't really, it doesn't really mean anything. Yeah. So I mean, what was their league position?
17th, aren't they? Are they
17th? Yeah, well, they seem to be between 16th and 18th for pretty much every metric.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I have to check what their expected points are, but they're kind of roundabout where they should be, despite the fact I feel like they've got quite a good team on paper. They're not really doing what they possibly could, although the league's a bit stronger. But you should they be beating your Fulhams, Palaces, Brentfords, Bournemouths? They're kind of the worst of that middle group, aren't they? Although I guess we can include Chelsea in that middle group now, which is hilarious.
Yeah. Well, that's really. We're only a point ahead of them, or 2 points. So.
Yeah, but we've had an absolute stinker of a season by our standards. There are people talking about that this season is a write-off. So the fact that this is our write-off season and Chelsea are still way behind us by 2 points is funny. But yeah, by all means, they should be. They kind of should be where they are. In terms of where we want to play, we're going to have to. Sorry, I butchered my graphic with our show from yesterday. For anybody who didn't watch yesterday's show, you can go back and watch it. It was about our squad at the end of this season, what it's going to look like. So I'm going to have to push people around. So we might have a couple of funny different coloured people here, with a white Dubravka graphic. Right, Willock Anderson, Miley can stay. Joe Linton's injured. Tonali can't play. All of you can leave. All right. So what we got? We got. How are we doing these two, Billy? Because we keep every game we keep swapping it. We doing it that way?
I think it'll be that way again. Yeah, and I think you'll have to take Isaac out, so we'll have a white Callum Wilson up front. Which I'm sorry I just said that. That sounds ridiculous.
Well, it's about the balls on the pitch.
Yes, of course.
Miggy or Murphy. Barnes or Gordon?
I think you may go back to Miggy this week. Gordon
rested because a lot of news outlets saying that he's done all right.
I think Gordon's fit. I think he plays.
You think Gordon's fit?
Yeah.
Well,
I don't think I'll
put him over this side. Question mark it.
Yeah. And again, same with Murphy. I guess it's toss of the coin for Miggy and Murphy. I reckon.
What in terms of who?
Between the two. Yeah.
I'd like to see this. Mix it up a little bit. Have Murphy and Barnes as the wingers, and then you've got them to come on if they want to.
Yeah, I can see the sense in that.
If you want half an hour of Miggy coming on and running a bit, we need to stretch the game. I would prefer this. I don't know if this is the most likely. I think if Gordon's even remotely close to fit, he'll play. But
I agree.
Because is he going to give Barnes the whole game? Because if he starts Barnes, he's going to have to pull him after at least maybe half time, 60, 65 minutes, 55 minutes. I can't see him doing the 90. So if he ends up starting, he's going to have to go at some point pretty early, you'd imagine. So, yeah, people saying they didn't see Gordon in the training vid. I don't know. I like this. I'm not sure it's going to happen because I don't know if Barnes is ready to start yet. But I'd be all right with this. I mean, what have we got option-wise? Livramento, Miggy, Gordon. If Gordon makes the bench or even makes the team, who else? I'm going to have to pull players out of my funny imaginary thing. Who else is going to be on the bench? Maybe Hearns, who doesn't have a number now because I did a silly. Joe White, maybe Alfie Harrison, Alex Murphy. Is that it? Is that our bench? Plus maybe Karius. So it'll be that and Karius, I would imagine, will be our bench-ish. Oh, you're muted, Billy.
Hall will be on the bench, won't he?
Oh, yeah. How many times did you say that into the muted microphone?
I don't know. About maybe 4 times.
Right, Hall, there we go. I wasn't just ignoring
I don't know what I was
it.
muted for.
Yeah, Hall. People saying Diallo. Yeah, maybe. Has he been on the bench recently? Haven't really seen him.
Not
I forgot to include him in this little video.
Obviously,
as well.
you've got your Richies and your them kind of player dummits. They're going to be on the bench at some point, aren't they?
Oh yeah, Richie will be on the bench. Oh, I have an apology to make for yesterday's video as well. I completely forgot that Matthew Bondswell exists, and I'm really sorry.
No.
So yeah, he should have been in yesterday's video. So sorry, Matthew.
Right. So if that is the lineup, then I don't think Barnes and Miley. Barnes hasn't got the pace to get back and support Burn, and Miley doesn't either. So does Burn play?
I just don't want Burn to play in this game. I think it's the wrong game for him. Hudson-Odoi, Gibbs-White, Elanga. I think it's got to be Livramento all day week, all day week, all day of the week.
I agree with you. Does Eddie do that though? That's the question. I mean, Eddie's pretty stubborn, isn't he? He's seen all. He's done it before. He's seen all the kind of negative stuff for Dan Burn, and generally he'll stand up for Dan Burn and pick him, which to me is well, it could cost him tomorrow. Saturday, I should say. But that's. I'd play Gordon on the left, and I'm not bothered about Murphy or Miggy. I think that both of them could do a job. But Livermento's got to play left back for me. He has to. Simply has to.
Well, I don't know. I think if I'd rest Anthony Gordon no matter what. I think he's so important for us at the moment.
And this is true. This is another good point.
If he's not 100%, I'd wrap him up in cotton wool because he's been the guy he's been keeping fit. He's given us so much this season. Imagine what our season would have been without Anthony Gordon this year. Honestly, it'd have been awful. He's dragged us through everything. He's run through flames for us.
I would say he would be a lot closer to the relegation zone than what we are now.
Well, yeah. So, but I'd like to kind of give him a rest, even if he pulls through and his knocks not too bad, and maybe he's trained. Do we risk it? Because we keep doing that with Isak, and I just think we just need to bin it off and just rest him. We need to keep our players healthy.
We do. But Gordon is a bit more resilient than Isak, isn't he? Let's put it where it is. I mean,
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Cracking comment here from David. He says, "I could just see Billy and Paul screaming for blue cards during commentary next season." Oh, that's a blue. That blatant blue. It's a fair point. If a player's knackered, can they get an intentional blue for a breather? I guess they could, but they'd put the team for 10 minutes down to 10 men, wouldn't they?
Yeah, but then you've got to try and hurt someone in just the right way to get a blue.
Yeah,
so you've got to kick him, but do it like you mean it, but not quite enough for a red card. Or just tell the ref to F off, and then you get a blue. Or he might just send, but then he might just send you straight off if you've done it too badly.
Come on, ref! I only meant it as a blue.
Yeah, exactly. It's so ridiculous. It's honestly ridiculous.
PL Rich says it works in rugby. Why not in football? Well, we've said why. The timing system's different in rugby as well, so you can kind of count it. You just get teams time wasting, won't you, for 10 minutes?
Oh, if it's a high tackle, you're off. Simple. If there's a dangerous challenge and you let go and drop someone on their head, you're off. It's not subjective. It's really simple. It's basically like handballs in football that should be yes and no. However, we've somehow made that subjective. Same with offsides. We've also somehow made that subjective with where does his shoulder start? Where's the insertion of the shoulder, and where's what technically counts as. It should be very much black and white with some of these things.
Another £5 super chat in from Ian Fleming. Thanks, Ian. Very much appreciated. He wants Tino at left back, but just can't see Eddie starting them. That's the kind of how I'm feeling about it, if I'm perfectly honest. It is very stubborn, but it's cutting his nose off to spite his face, I think, especially after what happened.
Should we have a look at Tino? I don't think we've actually looked at Tino for ages, have we?
No, let's have a look at
Livramento.
Yeah, Valentino. Let's have a look at Tino.
Valentino Livramento. The fact that he's still only 21 baffles me. Like, I feel like we give so much praise to young players, and I feel like we just forget that Tino's so young. Like, he's still a really young player. 2028, we've got him till. Lovely. There you go. Not
Pretty
bad
good.
at all.
Yeah,
Considering he's been playing. He's just been shoehorned in sort of wing back left back, right wing back, right wing. He's just been put everywhere and told to just do a job. So the fact that he's got any consistency in his data is really impressive. 1,000 minutes. And he's really, really tidy defensively, progresses the ball quite well.
Yep.
And then hopefully, if we can get some consistent games out of him in his right position, we'll start to see some more offensive data from him, because it's what he was doing a lot of at Southampton with a lot of crosses and stuff.
He's had assists, though, hasn't he? I'm sure he's had assists.
In the Premier League, I
don't
think they've counted as
Man United in the Carabao Cup. Well, Coca-Cola Cup. How old am I thinking?
Coca-Cola Cup,
Carabao Cup. That was obviously
Carling Cup. Yeah. But Tino is looking rather impressive statistically, even though he's been shoehorned in all kinds of positions.
Yeah, he has. I think he's been sensational this season, and he needs to start. Definitely, absolutely, 100%. Bath thinks Wilson will score 2 goals Saturday. My nanny's more resilient than Isaac, and she's dead, says Matt. A bit harsh. Baz says Burn will start. Eddie likes Tino on the bench. It'd be interesting. Gordon is so fast. That's his superpower. He needs to be fit to work. Yeah, I can understand that. Start Barnes and bring Gordon on after 60 minutes. Then he would terrify Forest defence. That's a fair point, I guess. I just worry if Burn is playing and Barnes in front of him. He hasn't got the pace to cover him. Simple as that. Hurt the ref's feeling that might get you a blue card. Make a comment about the cut of his uniform. How many other cards does Gordon have? Maybe saving him for the Arsenal game. Interesting one. How many cards does Gordon have? Is he on 9? I think he's on 8.
I think he's on
8 or 9.
9. Oh, you can have a look. He is on. Where are cards here? I don't think it shows me on FBref. I'm going to have to go to a different website, guys. Sorry. Yeah, carry on. I'll have to look.
Interesting question. Where is Paul tonight? He's just having a rest. No, he's done his back in. He had a back spasm yesterday, and I thought it was down to internet problems, but no, he's back. He's struggling with his back, but hopefully he'll be right for tomorrow to face the lads. Alan Chances, I think Eddie Howe's making one for his own back if he starts Burn. The owners won't put up with it forever. Vincent says no to sin bin. Let's not change the game we love as we know it. Yes, I agree. Kenny says Coffee's allowed 2 more. Jason says
he's on 8, yeah.
He's got 2 more then, so he's safe. Your mic sounds much better these days, Billy Nice. Well, it's the same mic, Jason. It's absolutely nothing different. Unless you've cleaned your ears, maybe. Maybe you've had your ears syringed in the past few weeks. Paul's back to say, says Ian. Yes. What's the snow like down your way? We haven't got any, have we, Sato?
No, none in the Midlands.
Snow free, which is cool, but it's still cold. Paul's still looking for a new chair at IKEA. Maybe that's the reason why he's back when I take her. I mean, we haven't thought of that, have we?
Yeah, maybe.
That dodgy chair, adverts every 5 minutes. That's the next thing. Yes, I guess. No snow for Ian, wherever he is.
There is a comment to argue with your Barnes pace. I mean, I thought on the eye that Barnes was a bit slow, but that suggests. I mean, we need to verify that, of course. But
yeah, I mean, I've not seen it in Newcastle shirt. I've got to be honest. He looked like especially the game at the Etihad. He looked like he was running in treacle. You know, that's the kind. He just didn't look quick, but he's clever.
Yeah, he's got a very different
brain
side of his game.
2 seconds ahead, which gains him. Yeah, it gains him a little bit of time, doesn't it? So, yeah, I'm not sure Barnes does have that pace. He's not as quick as Miguel. I wouldn't have thought. No way. Maybe he's got a longer stride. Evening to you, Sophie. I hope you're well. Kenny says it's pouring with rain in London. Yeah, it's been raining here, I guess. So I guess it gets to a certain part of the country and it turns into snow. Didn't have an idea to have an orange card, which was more than a yellow. I say that's what, but not a red. Yes, that was the idea, but they've decided to do that as a blue card, which is mental. Bring Gordon off the bench if needed. Yes, that's what Stato suggested. I think if he's fit, he needs to play. But I do understand that. I do understand the other argument. Do comparison with Burn. With who? With Livramento? You don't need to. Just look at it with your eyes.
What you want to see? You want to see Burn stats?
Yeah, let's have a look at Burn stats. I wonder if he's going to have lots of green lines on his. Yeah, we're going to have a look at Burns. If Robert says if Burn plays, Eddie will make the biggest mistake of the season. This season he's made a lot. Hi, Norvik. I hope you're well, mate. If a player gets a blue, make them wear clown suits and shoes and run around the pitch 10 times. That will add some entertainment. Interesting. Here he is. Here's Big Dan Burn.
Interestingly, at the end of this year, he's only got 1 year left on his contract.
And he's 30, getting on for nearly 32. So he's going to be, when the next season starts, he'll be 32.
32 with a year left on his contract.
Yeah.
Tricky indeed. But he does have a goal in the Champions League this year, which we won't forget.
It is indeed. So
in terms of actual data, this is what we're looking at. And this is over 3,000 minutes of data. So this is exactly how he plays. No pinch of salt stuff. So defensive metrics are really good, but you would expect a high volume of blocks, clearances, and aerials just by his height and his strength. Tackles and interceptions are still really good. Ball progression doesn't exist.
And your fullback's got to be able to progress the ball, surely to God.
Yeah, but you've got to remember there's a lot of games where we do try to slot into that back three kind of shape. And he's not tasked. He's not tasked with doing those kind of things.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But wouldn't it be good if we could have somebody that could do that and pass the ball, you know? But I mean, he's well above average in his pass completion rate. He's in the 65th percentile, just under 80% pass completion rate, which isn't bad. I mean, he's getting 0.72 shots per 90. I'm guessing that's from set pieces, you would imagine.
Yeah.
So one header a game, nearly. Yeah. I mean, we know this. I don't really know why we have to look at this. We know he's not going to take players on and beat them. And we know he's not going to carry the ball very much progressively or pass it very much progressively. It's just really good defensive metrics. Yeah. I mean, who does he play like officially? You've got Dallo, Mikolenko,
Muffin the Mule.
Stanier's on there. Jaden Bogle.
Not so good. There's not much quality there, is there? Joel Ward.
I mean, we love him, but I don't know. I just really want to see Livramento more because I love him as a footballer. I think Tino's amazing, and I don't feel like you can bench Tino. I just think he's too good.
Was Stephen Merchant on that list?
Stephen Merchant on the wing, yeah.
Yeah, Barnes was clocked last season at 35.5, slightly faster, bigger though, slower than Gordon. Interesting. If Eddie goes with Burn, I feel he'll get ripped again. I think they'll target him. That's definite. Well, that's an interesting comment. I nearly read it out. Even to you, I know. Hope you're well. Lots of numbers in the chat for some reason. What was that then? 8889. Interesting. Tino we benched purely for the act.
Oh, that was for the Gordon. How many Gordon's yellow cards? Because we're.
Oh right, yeah, of course it was. Yeah, that's how far behind I am. Tino we benched purely for the fact Eddie has a game changer in Tino. I don't agree with it, but Tino helps change a game or adjust a formation more than Burn off the bench. Interesting. Whoever starts will 100% see a better defensive performance than we saw against Luton. I can't see us repeating that mess. The question is, do we have the players to confidently say we'll stop us repeating that mess if we play the same lineup? That's the question for me, and I don't think we do. I don't think we've got enough in the midfield to help protect. If Botman can get across and fight, maybe. And if they are short of a centre forward, that may help. But otherwise, unless we play Gordon on the left hand side, I don't see Burn getting the cover. I've got to be honest. Think it will be Barnes with Murphy. Think it would be Barnes with Murphy. The Barnes off Miggy and Murphy goes in Barnes spot save Gordon. That's an interesting comment. One I don't understand a word of, but think it would be Barnes with Murphy. Then Barnes off Miggy on. I'm with you now. Sorry, mate. Sorry, John. Murphy goes and Barnes spots. Yeah, well, I think I got there in the end.
Right, well, I have got something to show you.
Come on in, Billy Ocean.
That might be quite interesting for people. So this was their most recent Premier League game, I believe, against Bournemouth, and this was their lineup. So guess who's in goal?
It's Matt Sells.
It is indeed. So this is what they went with against Bournemouth. I think that was 1-1. Was it 1-1?
Yeah.
So Awani is clearly available, so they're using him. So I would expect something extremely similar to this, basically the same. Hudson-Odoi, I would imagine, is fair. I've not heard that he isn't. I would imagine it's two very quick wingers with Gibbs-White behind Awani. To be honest, I'm also scared of him because I think he's really good. I remember as soon as he signed for Forest, we reviewed him. We had a little look because we had to play Forest for the first game of the season last year. And he was a tidy pickup from the Bundesliga, and he's not a bad player at all. I think he's really tidy. He just keeps getting injured. So I'm kind of scared of that front four.
Yes.
They've got a bit of umph in midfield. Ryan Yates is a bit of a rat. He's everything Jack Colback thought he was, basically, Ryan Yates. Yeah, Tavares and Nico Williams are not too bad. I was going to say Nico Williams then, wrong player.
Like Norwich, they've got centre
halves.
We can get them, surely. What's his name? The Norwich blood?
What? Amobamidele.
That's the bloke.
Is that how we say it? We'll call him Andrew.
Andy. Yeah, Andy at the back there.
Andy and Murillo. There we go. I think centre halves are some like Callum Wilson needs a good game, ideally. I feel like the centre halves will be there to have. You know, they haven't got the. You know, was it Niakate, the enormous centre half? He's a handful. He's hard to beat physically. So I think Wilson's going to have to be sneaky. I think he can do. Maybe a bit of the away fans can give Sells a bit of banter. It's got to be friendly banter, I guess, because he didn't leave on very good terms with the death threat. So we've got to be somewhat kind to him. But banter's banter, I guess, if we just try and give him gentle banter. But maybe rattle him a bit and pop some shots off. Although we're not really ones for having shots outside the box typically. Although now Barnes is back. If Barnes gets on, he looks a bit more partial to it.
There's no one at the club that will have been there apart from Lascelles.
Average positions.
Richie would know him, wouldn't he, I guess?
Potentially, yeah. So average positions. So Gibbs-White was actually the furthest forward. So it looks like it was Awani kind of holding up and being the link player. And then you've got Hudson-Odoi was just on the left. Alanga waiting to spring off there. Where's Yates and Dominguez? So Yates, they're sitting quite deep. Okay, so it's like this back structure here.
Yeah.
And then, it seems like very much the team's split up into two chunks. You've got the front four, possibly even the three. Maybe if someone goes, the other one doesn't, potentially.
Yeah.
It depends on where the ball is and how they build it up. Aaron's saying Hudson-Odoi is suspended. Is he? Well, Fotmob says otherwise. I mean, if he is, then that's great for us because they're struggling with forward options. So that makes our job a little bit easier.
I'm guessing the one he's a physical specimen, maybe holding up, and Gibbs-White getting ahead of him on the pitch. I guess that's how it works. A different system here against Bristol City, though, isn't it? Yeah.
So this was them in the cup. Divock Origi, of course, is now injured. It says on Fotmob, so I'm assuming he still is. Alanga and Gibbs-White played behind him with Kiyate in midfield. A little bit different with Montiel and Toffolo. Niakate played. I would be a bit more scared of Niakate. I wouldn't be surprised. To be completely honest, I wouldn't be surprised if they do this against us.
Well, they just played 3 days ago. Yesterday, and gone all the way to extra time.
I know they play the 4-2-3-1s, but it wouldn't surprise me if they played a back three.
No,
I don't know. Yeah, stifled Bournemouth and hit on the counter-attack. Well, I mean, I think that's what they'll try to do to us as well. I think the stage is set for them to have a very good game. I think it's to soak up pressure, be compact at home. If they want us to, I say control the game. We've been really struggling to control games at all in the last 6 weeks. We just can't do it. We've lost our technical ability enough to do that. Our midfield's not competent enough. I mean, I know we're all praising Miley. Bruno's amazing. Yeah, they are. But we're not controlling games at all. So it is concerning.
Super chats per PD Proudlock says Tino has to start on Saturday. I wonder if I'll become famous again, like I was at Craven Cottage. Was obviously Pete's going to City Grounds Saturday night. Maybe you will, Pete. We'll keep our eyes open for you. And John Adams with 10 New Zealand dollars. Do you think Burn needs too much support from the likes of Joe Linton and Gordon? Without it, is a risk. In one, yes, I do. Personally,
I mean, it's definitely a point, isn't it?
It certainly is. Let's do a few more of these. We should do a leg break on Gibbs White, take the blue, sit back for 10 minutes and go for broke. This new proposed blue card simbing rule is the dumbest shit ever. I really hope it never touches the EPL. Ian Heppel says, much like Forest Cup, you never know what you're going to get with Newcastle United at the moment. We could either destroy Forest or get embarrassed by them again if we get hurt by Alanga's pace. Like you just said, Mark says they stifle Bournemouth and hits on the counter. So that finished 1-1, didn't it? The Forest game. Hello to George Jester TV. Daniel says it will kill the pace of the game too. Team will just go to a low block and defend for 10 minutes. So exciting. Yeah, I agree. It was a tough fixture last year. It was a tough fixture last year. Exactly, it was. Come from behind, didn't we? Cynical professional fouls are part of the game. As is shithousery, they could always go back to only allowing the captain to speak with the ref and booking anyone else for dissent.
And that's what it is right now. That's what it's supposed to be right now.
It is, but they don't do it, do they? Harlock Croft says, if you're enjoying the stream, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button. It's free to do so. Feel free to use the super chat feature or become a member and help support the channel. And of course, if you do give a super chat, your comment will be read out if I see it. Baz says they played for 2 hours last night. They did. What midfield, Alex? The ball goes straight from front to back. There's dynamics detailing.
Well, yeah, but I mean, when we're on the ball, we're not very good at controlling it. We always used to be. I was so impressed with our move because if you remember when Hal first took over and we got more signings and we grew, we started to become quite a dominant team and we'd have a lot of possession, and that's just all fallen through the. Well, we just can't do it anymore. We need our bigger players. We need Joe Lintons and Tonali's and stuff. We need everyone to be able to make that work.
Foxy says Forest will make a huge profit on Murillo. National team soon for him. Impressive at 21.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realise he was 21. I guess for 21, that's very, very impressive what he's doing. Just got to put his data up and he's profiles really well.
Is he Colombian?
He is, Brazilian.
Brilliant.
Murillo Santiago Costa dos Santos.
That's him.
So his first name is on his shirt.
Steve says if we win that, we'll be 7 points from 9. Not too bad. Mike thinks Barnes will be on the bench. John says Gibbs White was struggling at the end of the FA Cup game. Toon in training looks pretty intense this week. Got a good feeling about this weekend. Well, talking about this weekend, let's get your scores in. What do you think the score's going to be? Score predictions. Get them in the chat and we'll read a few of them out and see what you think. Then me and Sato will give ours. Hudson-Odoi has 0 yellow cards, so he's not suspended. There you go. Pete says he'll be watching the cameras. Well, if we're getting beat, Pete, maybe the best thing to do. Ben says Shah hat-trick. Interesting. And just to put the cherry on top, we have the ref who, when he was last in charge, gave us 5 yellow cards. I don't know who that was. They're all crap, so it don't really matter, does it? Ian says Barnes will be raring to go now he's back from injury. He could have a crucial role to play in our remaining games. I agree with that. I do agree with that. Ban passing back to the keeper, make defenders up their game, and that's more entertaining. Oh, I disagree with that. I think the back pass to the keeper. In fact, when they stopped keepers picking the ball up, I didn't agree with that. I understood why they did it, but it was a skillful part of the game. You know, getting the ball back to the keeper when they're in deep trouble. It's just that Liverpool used to do it for 80 minutes after they took a goal lead, so that was why they got rid of it.
I was never a big fan of it, to be fair. I didn't like it. I'm glad it changed.
This and that said play 3 at the back.
Well, against Forest.
Yeah. Stu says the football bigwigs have lost the plot. Says I'm sure Willett was part of the training at the Toon today. But that's interesting. Maybe he'll be close to a bench appearance sooner rather than later. Pilvit says Ola Alex. That's not how you spell Ola, but there you go. Here come the scores now. They're coming in. Blue card's just going to encourage some teams to draw a foul more. It'll be 20 minutes extra time with all the TMO reviews. I tend to agree with that. Really happy to have Barnes and Murphy back for options on both sides. Takes the pressure off a bit. I agree with that too. All right, DXK says 3-1 to Forest. That's a good optimistic start. Dan Kane says 2-1 to Newcastle. Hope you well, Dan. Jazz says 2-1 to Newcastle also. Julie saw Willock as well. Sophia says 3-1. Jackie's a bit more optimistic. He says 5-1 to Newcastle. Dynamics Detailing said we had such a great defensive record last season because of the press. The back line had a lot less to do. What's changed then? What's changed with we don't press as much, or don't seem to. I guess it's the amount of games we've played has stopped that a little bit. But why are we looking so open? Because
we're not, because we were completely suffocating teams. I mean, A, they've worked us out a little bit tactically, and then B, we're not as tenacious as we are at keeping the ball, at winning the ball back. So we used to win the ball back so much with Joe Linton in the middle of the park. Willock was also, his contribution was enormously underrated.
Yeah.
And we'd also got those kind of combative midfielders on the pitch in the form of the winger that would rotate. And then we'd got more subs we could utilize. We didn't have as many injuries. We didn't have as many games. Yeah, that's essentially why. And then we've got, I think also the profile of midfielders doesn't help, having not Joe Linton, Longstaff and Miley is a problem at the same time, despite them being competent at certain things. Again, it's very much a one or the other for me on the pitch at any one time. So there's many reasons.
Most people are going for Newcastle wins, except for Liam Rayner here, who says, I'm always wrong, so 3-0 Forest. So he's doing it with the ultimate ulterior motive, I guess. 2-1 Newcastle, I win, he will score, but Wilson and Gordon first, says Ash. 2-1 says the Colorado Magpie. Baz says 4-3, don't know who wins. I think it could be a high-scoring game. I think I agree with that. Judy says 3-1 Newcastle. 2-0 the Toon, says Stevie B. Comfortable 3-1, says Philip Scott. We Header says 2-0 to us. 3-2 to Pop Images. DXK says we can't handle Wood. So him missing probably saved us from a heavy defeat than 3-1. Interesting. 2-2 says Steve Crawford. 3-1 to the Toon, says Geordie Jester. 2-1 says Niall. Paul Mann said, chaps, my greatest fear is starting with Burn. His passing is not the best. Ed should start with 2 now. Tend to agree. 2-0 Newcastle. Wilson to Burn header, as I'm sure he will play. Well, if he doesn't score, then I guess we'll have to have a different speech next week, won't we? 5-2 to the Toon. Mickey gets 2. Wilson 2. Murphy 1. Pete says 2-1. And a lot of people said if they'll change their predictions if Bird plays. 3-2 to the Toon, says Ron. This and that's a 2-0. I like Coffee 3-0. There were 5 Benish 2-1. Paul Mann 2-0. Graham Sinclair 4-1. Ronald Wood 3-1. 2-0 for Mark Gilmore. We get revenge on Forest 6-1 to the Mighty Toon. Well, that is a very, very optimistic shout. PLVit says 2-1 to us. 6-2 says Ben. David says 3-3. So I think it potentially could be something like that. Lee Kelly says Harrison will hopefully be on the bench. 4-0 to us as a black and white sheep. Granny says was so open because Joe Linton was our bounce from the door. You shall not pass. Yes, absolutely. Pazman says 3-2. Right, Stato, what are you thinking?
I mean, I'm gonna go. I'm going to ignore logic because it hurts. At the moment, it does. I'm going to go with 2-0 to us.
Right.
And I think Dan Burn's going to start and purely because we've all said that he's not going to be the right player against Forest. Sod's law, he'll start and be okay. And I'm going to predict him to score. And then I'll say Barnes as well. I think he's good for a goal. I think he's confident after he came on and scored. So, but logically, I'm a little bit scared on the counter. I think we could give something away. Might be a cheeky Wilson pen in there somewhere, but I'll go with 2-0 for us with Burn and Barnes.
Okay, I'm going to say 3-2 to us. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I don't think defences will be exactly on top. I think there'll be mistakes made by both defences. But I think our quality, the Brunos of this world, the Barneses, the Wilsons, will win us the game. And I think we'll win 3-2. And the goal scorers for us will be Wilson with a couple, and I'm going to say Barnes as well. So 3-2 to us for me. But I think it'll be a high-scoring game. And a good game. It'll be a good game. Kev T says 3-1. Colin Bentham also says 3-1. And Wacky Angler says Burnett left back also hinders Botman's game, in his opinion. Yeah, I think it's a fair point. Paul Mann says we have to keep Gibbs White under control. Let's hope he's knackered after the long game he had the other day. When we come to the end of the show, folks, a very interesting discussion. Lots and lots of confidence amongst the Toon fans with the predictions there. But we'll be back tomorrow with Face the Lads. So just basically, thanks very much, everyone that's viewed tonight. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks to the mods in the background. Thanks to Stato. Until tomorrow night, I wish you all a very good night, and Sato will say my line.
Away the lads and lasses.
See you tomorrow, folks.
Come back and check out some green.